you both grew up around so many famous people in such a wild town.
I just had blinders on.
You don't seem affected by certain vapidness of Hollywood.
It just fucks with people, I think.
You have to bet on yourself, and I know that I'm going to win. And then B, if I don't win, if I lose money, if this is the peak of where I get to, that has to be okay.
Yeah.
It just has to be.
Anything I've built could be taken away from me at any time. We had just the right amount of fear.
What are you so afraid of, Sarah?
Everything.
I'm sure there's some sage in this office somewhere.
Oh.
So yeah, we can talk about whatever we want. Wait, I just was thinking how I know about you. And sorry, Michael, you don't even know the story.
Like an ex-boyfriend?
I was hooking up in Cabo with someone who rhymes with Schmody Runner.
Oh my God.
And his pickup line
Not
to me,
cooking to you?
you're going to die. His pickup line, my sister's on the cover of Maxim.
Stop.
Guys, am I 900 that I don't know who we're talking about?
Sarah, come on.
Say it
This
one more
is-
time. Schnody Schnenner.
Sarah, I'm going to let you get here on your own. I'm not even going to walk you to there.
He said, my sister is on the
Oh, in my mind, I'm
Oh
thinking
my
someone she
God.
dated.
No.
So I'm going to, okay, got it. Can I say who?
Yeah, you can say
Brody?
it. So his pickup
Oh my God, that
line
is so
to me
funny.
was, my sister's on the cover of Maxim.
That's quite
By
a
the
pickup
way,
line.
if he only knew how famous his other sisters were going to be,
Seriously.
that would have been a way bigger.
He had no idea how big he could have gone.
He had no idea how big. I mean, he had to slum it with me.
By the way, that worked. You said you were hooking up.
We'll talk off air.
Okay.
But
This is a lot. This now we're dating ourselves because it was before.
no, this
all
is
the,
before him, way before
was-
him.
yeah.
But
How
that
long
was
have you
the
guys been
pickup
together?
line. Was my we've been together since we met at 12.
okay, so this would have been 2003.
You were there in Cabo.
I was there separately but we were all like kind of down there. But I wasn't. We weren't
We're in
together.
high school together.
Yeah, we went to middle school, high school. We weren't
No
together. We're separate.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
But you were on
In
the cover
LA?
of Maxim.
No, San Diego.
Do you remember what I'm talking about? Obviously.
He remembers being on the cover of Maxim.
Or
That was a big
oh,
deal.
really, you guys, it was a big fucking.
It was a big deal.
I kind of think with this episode, you should post the cover on your Instagram. This gives you a reason to be like, look, I was on the cover of Maxim,
Like,
remember?
they're making
Oh
me
no,
post it.
I already used my daughter as an excuse to post it like 2 years ago.
Oh, what
I've
did you
already
say?
Sort of done that. I was like, oh, V, I was just like cleaning out the garage. This is crazy. Look what I found. And she was like, ew, disgusting, is what she said.
You look so hot. If I
They were
remember
disgusting.
correctly, there was like leather and
Wait,
black.
I thought it was white lace.
Oh,
I remember requesting the photographer who shot like all the Victoria's Secret. They gave me like an option. They're like, who do you want? I go, I want him. This guy, Russell James. The pictures were fun. I mean, they were fine.
No, they were
They could
great.
have been better.
they were gorgeous. And so when he said that, I went to like the 7-Eleven in Cabo or whatever, and I like wanted to see the sister. So I got the magazine. I bought the magazine. I remember looking through it and being like, oh my God, his sister's so hot. How is the sister? And then now it's just, he has all kinds of sisters.
There's
Yeah.
all kinds of sisters.
He has
It's like-
He does have all
sisters that are
kinds of
on way
sisters.
bigger covers than.
But like, cute. I love that.
But Maxim
I-
was the jam back then. Got the guys revved up.
I really,
Yeah. No, you were on the cover at the peak of Maxim. Like whoever's on, if it's still a magazine, whoever's on the cover now, we don't know.
It was a peak.
Oh yeah, if Instagram had been around when I was on the cover of Maxim, I mean, the sky would have been the limit for me.
Yeah.
But this was really just at a time when.
But
you
here we are.
actually, you know.
Here you are.
On a podcast.
Yeah.
First question I have to ask is, who was funnier when you guys were little?
Sarah discovered how funny she is as an adult. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think you were considered like the funny kid, and then I think the first time that I really realized like, oh, I am funny is with our show, with Barely Famous, which was a comedy that we wrote, starred in, scripted comedy, poking fun at reality
Mm-hmm.
stars and the desperation to be famous and all those things.
But I had to push Sarah to be
Yeah.
like, you're funny, you should embrace it, lean into that side of
Yeah.
you, because that's actually like the cool side. The hot side, of course, it's cool to be hot, but it's temporary. You gotta like, you're also really funny.
It's
That'll last
It's
longer.
temporary hot. I know that's kind of hard. You have to be multifaceted.
Gotta have more.
It's got to be more. I'd take funny over pretty.
Yeah.
I feel like guys would too, if you really dissect it.
I know a lot of guys who are dating really hot girls and they are trying to get out of the relationship.
Yeah.
That just isn't enough. And I think as women, we grew up thinking, oh, if you can just be pretty, if you can have a great body or great this or that, then I'll get the guy. Or the guy didn't want me because of how I look. And it actually is not ever that.
It can help you get the guy, maybe not keep the guy.
100%. I feel like you have a really interesting perspective.
No,
on it.
I think like, yeah, you don't want to go to a staring contest every night, right? Like there's got to be something to say, some
Yeah.
substance.
That's a Frank Sinatra quote.
Yeah, it is. I stole it
Don't
from
you
him.
know the Cindy Crawford story?
No.
Nope,
It's like
maybe.
the fakes. Erin's heard it before, so she doesn't want to hear it. But it's
I
like
can sit through it.
it's like okay, so it's not actually Cindy Crawford, but a guy is on a deserted island with Cindy Crawford, and he's like, holy shit, like I'm on a deserted island with Cindy Crawford. This is every man's dream. So they hook up, and they're done hooking up, and he's like not feeling satisfied. He's like, God, like that's not what I thought it would be. This feels terrible. Like. He's like, okay, what can I do to feel better? He's like, okay. And he puts his hat on her and like draws a mustache on her and puts his clothes on her and is like, now I want you to walk all the way down to the end of the beach and then start walking towards me. And she's like, oh, okay. And she starts walking towards him and he's like, yo, bro, I just fucked Cindy Crawford. And it's like this thing, right? And again, this isn't actually Cindy Crawford, but she's the.
And now it felt good for him.
And then he was like, oh, that's the thing that was missing. It's like, it feels good to tell your bros or to tell, oh, I'm dating this person. Or when you actually
slept
peel
with that
back the
person.
layers, like, is it meaningful? Is it actually who you want to be with? Do you even like this person?
It's so true. They just want to brag in the locker room.
It's true. And I think that the people who are envious of another relationship, like a friend's relationship, it's not, oh, my friend who has like the hottest girlfriend or the hottest wife. It's like the one who actually likes his wife, wants to hang with his girlfriend.
Totally.
They laugh. He's not trying to escape her. He's not cheating on her every time she leaves town. I think it's like the guy who's actually happy, right?
Yeah, no, like when my
You're the
guy,
man in the room.
no,
Tell
when,
us.
when my guy friends come
Give
to me
the
now and
real
ask
opinion.
about it's exactly what you're saying. Like they want the connection and they want the relationship. Like, they all run around and do their thing. They're a bunch of animals. But I think like when they get alone with their thoughts, some of them, they're sad if they don't have the connection. Like they want that thing.
I
Those are
also
all the
think that
those are the relationship I'm envious of. Never the one with like the hottest husband or the richest husband. It's always like the one where it's a mutually respectful relationship where they're laughing, a lot of respect, a lot of joy. Those are the relationships I'm always like, God, they have it all.
yeah.
A lot
I
of my
also
friends
have
are
a
in
theory
dark
that like
days too. Like
What'd you say?
they're out there. Like it's not as glamorous for them as they portray it to be. Like I know what goes on behind those. I mean, imagine waking up every day and there's a new stranger and it's like, you're
I
seeing.
don't have the capacity. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, I have a theory that, there's a lot of like supermodels and like famous actresses who end up getting cheated on with someone who's not nearly as beautiful or successful. And I think that because men are such visual people, like women, we can be attracted to a guy for so many different reasons, but men are very visual at first. It's very much like, women don't say like, oh, I like brunettes or I like guys with big butts. It's like, we don't think like that. We just think it's like a vibe. I think that sometimes women who are considered like a fantasy, it's so hard for their partner when she's normal and she has like bad breath in the morning or she like has like dandruff or she says something embarrassing at a dinner party and, like falls off the pedestal. I think it's a much further fall for the guy to watch.
That is really aware and so true. You both grew up around so many famous people in such a wild town. When you look back on the way you grew up from this perspective now, is it like weird or is it just normal?
Erin and I have discovered that we had different childhoods.
Yeah, we did.
How?
What is the age gap?
Year and a half.
Yeah,
Okay.
very
Year and a
close.
half.
We just
Wow.
had really different experiences in our home and with our family and like in our world. They don't match up. We had
No,
different
and we've
childhoods.
realized that the oldest gets treated differently. So her experience and her journey is different. And Erin was the middle child. And so for me, I went to a different school. My best friend was Kate Hudson. So for me, I'm like, well, that's famous. Famous is her parents. I'd go to her house and I'm like, holy shit, this person's in the kitchen and that person's in the kitchen. And so I always felt like my friends were growing up in this very fantasy world and we had like a normal life. That was my delusion at the time. And then for Erin, she was at a different school.
I went to public school and I was the rich kid.
Yeah.
I was the kid who had like the biggest house and the fanciest life. And so I always thought, oh my God, we have so much. Like we're so blessed and like everyone else around us doesn't have what I have. Like I was the friend who had more than everybody else and she was the friend who had less than everybody else. So it kind of like
Growing
set
up
us
in LA is
a weird
wild.
way.
Wait,
Why did you guys go to different
you didn't want to
schools?
go to Goldie Hawn's?
I was not invited. No, Sarah didn't really acknowledge me until I was like 25.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was Erin. That's not true. It was like 22.
What's going on there?
Oh God. Oh Lord. No,
we just didn't connect until later in life, guys. I mean, I was trying to connect our whole life. I was desperate to be Sarah's friend. She really wasn't interested.
You guys seem so simpatico, though.
No, we are.
Yeah, but it's not a no, we are. I mean, that is true. What happened, but we are as adults now. I mean, it's a different relation. Do you have siblings?
I have siblings.
Did your relationship switch as adults from children or no?
We got to do a whole nother podcast.
Well, that's how I feel about siblings.
Do you think it's unique to have that?
I think that
yeah, but they have a bigger gap. They're 5 years. That's a big gap.
But I also have I have 3 siblings. It's different with each sibling.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I've realized is the birth order is a real thing.
Yeah.
It's now that I have kids too, it's just different. The oldest one gets so much attention when they're a baby. Like
it's also a totally different thing when your parents go through a divorce, right? When you're young.
Yeah.
So it's a very different. We've unpacked this on our podcast. I don't know if we want to bore your listeners. We could. But we've realized through therapy and through so much conversation,
there's a lot of
so much
responsibility that falls on the
communication,
oldest through a breakup.
that I think Erin has now a lot more grace for what I was going through, and I obviously have grace for what she was going through. But it takes time to get there. You want to just point fingers and go, God damn, why weren't you a better sister? Why weren't you this? Why weren't you that? And then when you sort of step out of it and you hold space for the other person's experience also, you can heal from that.
Yeah.
I also think like when looking back when you're little, you're just like surviving. Especially if you come from divorce or you have any kind of trauma or whatever it is, like you're just doing the best you can. I really believe that people are doing the best they can, especially when they're little.
How old were you when your parents split up?
I was 5.
I was 3.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah. But it's so true what you're saying, because I think about as an adult when I would hold resentment towards Sarah for what was going on when we were children. And it's like I'm holding her responsible as a 7-year-old for having not been there for me through what we were going through in our household. She's 7. But for me, I'm 5 at the time thinking like, where the fuck's my older sister like walking me through this? But she's a child too.
Yeah.
So I think it's important as adults to kind of have those conversations, have the arguments, the tears, and get to a place where it's not really getting me any closer to healing by blaming her, or it's not getting her closer to healing by, blaming me or whatever, and just kind of moving forward.
But it's also as you get older and you have your own kids, then you start also seeing your parents' journey and blaming them less, because then you start going, wait a minute, look at what they were doing. But this is the roadmap, right? This is always how it works. You hate your parents, you're resentful, you blame them for everything, and then you become to realize, wait, they didn't have it easy growing up. They are imperfect people. And then you forgive your parents. And it's all about forgiveness on all ends of the spectrum.
I think that if you can actively on a daily basis imagine your children your parents as 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and really put yourself in their shoes, it does, like you said, really help let go of resentment.
I just read that somewhere. That's so interesting. Look at your parents as a toddler.
I think about it.
Yeah.
There's like this weird meditation that I do when I lock Michael out of the bathroom and pretend like I'm on my period every day because I need some space. But this meditation, it's like the whole meditation is like imagine your parents as children, like being 3, and it's really helpful. It's like it makes you feel lighter because you understand. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
So how did you guys sort of come back together? Like, what was the who came to who? How did it happen?
There was no we were never estranged.
Right.
It wasn't really like that. I was just living my life, trying to stay above water, trying to figure out where I was going. I didn't go to college. I moved to Paris to model. I was really just on this path, right? I was like, I need to be independent. I need to make a living. I just had blinders on.
You're totally the oldest. It's like drive.
And there was no part of me that was like, fuck my sister. It was more just like, this is my path. And so we weren't like estranged. We just, as in our early 20s, I started being more like, oh, come with me to this thing. Like it felt like there's a very big difference between like 16 and 14 or 17 and, you know what I mean? But then in your early 20s, it's kind of like, oh, like the gap gets smaller. And so it started being like, oh, Erin, come with me to this. Or, let me introduce you to this person, or let's have a fun birthday.
Yeah.
It just shifted.
Modeling in Paris, what's that like?
I mean, it was horrible. What do you
Yeah,
mean? I lived in like a dorm with like 80 ladies and ladies, like kids. And you go on like 1,000 castings a day. And, if you get a call back, it's like a celebration. And, I'm like just under 5'9". So this was the time in like 2000 when if you were not 5'9" or taller, you had no chance. Like there was Kate Moss and that was it. She was like an anomaly. But if you were not right at 5'9" with the ruler, saying if you weren't like a supermodel, if you were just a regular model, they wouldn't even look at you or see you. Now it's like anyone can be a model. But it was very strict. So I was already like going through, oh, no, you won't be seen for this because you're 5'8" and 3/4.
Longtime listeners of this podcast know that we have been drinking AG1 for about 8 years now, a little bit over. We're always on the go looking for the most efficient way to fill the nutritional gaps. And I've said for years that if there was only one supplement that I could carry with me when I'm traveling, when I'm at home, if I was just going to spend money on one thing, it'd be AG1. That's because it packs such a punch. All you have to do is take one simple scoop of powder and put it in water and drink it down. AG1 tastes great. It's efficient. It's got your prebiotics, your probiotics. It's got all your daily greens and a multivitamin all in one simple scoop that you can just drink down with water. Lauren and I recently had Kat Cole, the COO of Athletic Greens, on this podcast. Just search that episode talking all about the benefits of this product and what this company has done to make sure that they're delivering the highest quality ingredients in their product. We love it. It supports our entire body and covers all of our nutritional bases every single day. It tastes great, and it's an easily drinkable habit with our busy lifestyles. I have a lot more energy. My under eye circles have gone away, and I just overall feel great. We're always looking for high quality products. That's why we've partnered with AG1 for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/skinny. That's drinkag1.com/skinny. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/skinny. That's drinkag1.com/skinny. Check it out.
I am so happy that I do not have to wear clip-in extensions all the time. I cannot even tell you. I wore clip-in extensions for probably 10 years of my life. I didn't wear them every day, but I would like wear them if I was going out or if I had something really important. And I have to tell you, I have been extension free for the last 8 months. And a big part of that is attributed to me really taking my hair care seriously. I've done a couple different things and I'm going to give you like my list. The first thing is I am big into scalp massage. I do it all the time. I do it in the morning. I do it at night. I feel like it stretches your face up, like the fascia. It's so good to get the circulation going. And I like to do it with the hair serum. The one that I use, you guys already know, is Vegamour. It comes in this little pink bottle. I have it on subscription. It's a monthly subscription and I just get it in the mail and I use it every single day. And the key with this is consistency. When I do a scalp massage, when I do my facial massage, and then I add my scalp serum to the massage, it just kicks it up a notch. And I like this hair serum specifically because it's 100% cruelty-free and it's never formulated with potentially harmful ingredients. Give your hair the power of the little pink bottle with Vegamour. For a limited time, him and her listeners get 20% off their first order by going to vegamour.com/skinny and use code skinny at checkout. That's vegamour.com/skinny, code skinny to save 20% off your first order. vegamour.com/skinny, code skinny. I was actually introduced to Hungry Root by someone that I follow on Instagram who's really healthy. I'm obviously very busy, but I want to make sure my kids are eating fresh, high quality ingredient recipes. And so I saw Hungry Root on this girl's Instagram and I have followed her for a while for meals, and she told me that she uses Hungry Root. It's the easiest way to eat healthy. Basically, they send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple recipes, and essential supplements. So it's kind of like having a personal assistant for healthy living. All you do, so like I went on, I took a fun
short little quiz. It asks who you're eating for, what your personal health goals are, what you like to eat. And then they build this personalized chart with all your grocery needs for the week. And they give you a bunch of insanely healthy, delicious recipe recommendations to put the groceries to use. They have fresh produce, high quality meat and seafood. I want my kids eating a lot of meat and seafood, so this was important to me. Healthy snacks, smoothies, ready to eat meals. They even have like sweets and snacks on there. Basically what their mission is it's got to taste good, it's got to be quick, but it has to be whole, trusted ingredients. Right now, Hungry Root is offering him and her listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Wow. Go to hungryroot.com/skinny to get 40% off your first delivery and get free veggies for life. That's hungryroot.com/skinny. Don't forget to use our link so they know that we sent you.
How did you deal with all that rejection? That's a lot of rejection. I think it builds resilience.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, and from modeling to acting and hosting and all those things, it's rejection every day. I mean, it's really it's horrible.
And what were you doing while she's in Paris modeling?
Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know.
But it's also a different time. You weren't allowed to
I don't even
treat.
know when that was. What age was that?
You were maybe writing for Daily Candy?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I was
That-
starting a writing career.
What's so crazy is how people were treated. You know, you were allowed to treat people like shit. You were allowed, like,
Give me an example.
oh my God. I remember being on set for a catalog, like a big company, and the photographer and all the people are like literally saying loud where I can hear them. They're like, oh my God, look at her. I mean, her teeth are, no, this is not working. Like, this is not working. We need someone else. We need to, like, they would just, there was no consideration. If you were not at the top tier, it was just terrible.
Yikes.
It's horrible for a girl's self-confidence. I think it's interesting what Bella Hadid just said, how she said like modeling, I don't know how she said it, but it's like not filling her cup up anymore. And like she wanted to feel more fulfilled. Like she felt like it was draining her. That career of modeling, it seems like so much work that people don't see.
Yeah.
And then you have people thinking it's easy, which is like a mind fuck.
And that is a much easier time. Her generation of, it's like you have Instagram, you have all these things. It's a very different time to try to be a model.
And what was your writing career like? Writing is also a very, very interesting,
There's a lot of rejection there too.
complex
Yeah, there is.
career.
It's different kind. I mean, it's less, you have more control in a lot of ways. You can't control, I mean, today you can control how you look a little bit more than you could 15, 20 years ago. But like,
there was no Botox. There was no Botox when I was modeling.
but like you know, you're being judged for something different, something that you can work on and get better at. And so I don't think it has the same surface level where it's the same kind of rejection where it can kind of set you back with emotionally the same way. But I don't know. I always wanted to be a writer and I didn't really know how to figure out how to do it. And so I started working with Daily Candy was like my first ever being paid to write. Do you remember what Daily Candy was?
Why does that sound so familiar?
It was this thing that, well, how long have you guys been in LA?
We don't live here. We live in Austin.
live in Austin
but we
full-time.
were.
But we came in 2014.
In
We
LA
grew up in
for-
San Diego area.
Right.
So 2014.
Yeah, I think
Ish.
that exists. It was honestly like a city guide with like comedy, like with humor, a sense of humor. It was like a city guide.
Where was it on though?
It was just on the internet. I don't know, it was like dailycandy.com.
I know
You'd get a newsletter. You get like an email newsletter.
Okay, it sounds familiar.
Well, they paid me $50 every time I wrote a thing that made it in. It was not like something you're making a living off of, but it felt like this accomplishment that it was being like printed somewhere, you know, and it was like a step in a direction.
it felt like a big deal at the time.
I know, which is so
It
funny.
really did.
And then I was writing for Hello Giggles, if you remember Hello
Yeah.
Giggles. And then I started writing in TV, and it was just like a real slow progression, like getting the lowest level job and like working my way up. And I don't know, it just kind of evolved in a really cool way.
When did it hit? When did something hit? Like when did you see momentum?
The Ryan Murphy show.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Really? Getting hired to write on a Ryan Murphy
Well,
show?
That's pretty fucking
Yeah, that's
rad.
pretty fucking
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a party when you got that job.
I know you're like,
I
oh,
did.
not that old thing.
Well,
Yeah, that's a pretty
I
big
take a
one.
lot of pride in being a writer on the only show of his that never succeeded, or made it past one season. So I picked the wrong show, but that was very cool for me because it was just, I don't know, I just felt like I was in the game. Like I hadn't gone to college. I was insecure as a writer, and it felt really validating to have a real job, and I'd never made that much money before, and I felt like so. I did feel like I had made it, but then
You used to
after
call
that,
me every day driving out of the Paramount lot. You'd be like, I'm I just want you to know, I'm like, I can't even believe I have a drive on the Paramount
True.
lot.
It felt really cool.
How did you guys keep it together here in the city growing up the way you grew up? I mean, I just asked that curiously because we have 2 kids. And I was like, I don't know if I can.
We have to credit our parents. Listen, like,
Yeah.
I think our parents really instilled, we had just the right amount of fear. And you know what I mean? We were just the right amount afraid of them.
Also, our mom was very anti-Hollywood. She was not interested in us having famous friends or becoming friends with our friends' parents because of a certain thing. She was very anti that world. And so she kind of always forced us to stay grounded because she's very grounded. And our dad, who was in that world, he still had very high expectations for who we were going to be as people. So he wasn't interested in raising spoiled brats. He was very much like, I grew up poor. I worked really hard to make money. If you would like to be rich, like I'm rich, then you should go make your own money. And there was always like a step involved in anything that he gave us, right? Like, okay, I'll help you get a car, but here's your part in it. Or I'll help you get your first apartment, but here's what you have to do in return. It wasn't like everything is handed over. So we always still carried like a weight of responsibility and guilt around anything that we were given. And it just kind of pushed us to be as independent as we could as early as we could.
Well, we were also told very early on, there's no like trust fund. You know, you see a lot of these LA kids who, you know, I'm not judging, but who are raised with wealthy parents and they know they're coming into money, right? And there's something about knowing you're coming into money that I can't see where any kind of drive or ambition can come from.
Huge
So we were told
disadvantage.
very early on, just so you are aware, you are not coming into anything. That's not going to happen here. So,
and I'm so grateful for that.
me too.
No, I grew up with some privilege, and I think sometimes, and like the internet eats people for this, but I actually think sometimes people that grow up with the parents that are very accomplished and have set up, that can also be very challenging for those kids, right? I always, because it's such a high bar to live up to, and the pressure to live up to that is different than someone's like, hey, maybe more humble beginnings. You just need to get out there and make it. I'm not trying to, I'm just saying it's a different experience. If someone's
that's
listening.
valid too.
Yeah.
I mean, we still, no matter what we accomplish, we can still find a headline that refers to us as David Foster's daughters. And he'll have nothing to do with the accomplishment that we've created for ourselves on like a TV show or, you can't get a TV writing job because your dad is David Foster. Like there's no connection there. But to a lot of people, it's easier for me than it is for someone who just moved here from Ohio. And that might be true. You still have to prove yourself though. And I think it's taken us a long time to shake off the like resentment about that because there's a disadvantage to it, like you're saying, but there's also advantages you can't ignore. Like when you grow up around a successful parent, you are exposed to successful people. You're exposed to people who have pulled themselves out of like poverty and become a billionaire. There are lessons to be learned there. You're sitting at a brunch or a dinner with people who have like phenomenal advice to be able to give you or like can test you and push you or
that is privilege.
Give you an opportunity as an intern or something. I mean, it happens. And like, everyone takes advantage of those opportunities and it gives you a huge step up. It doesn't give you your career because who's going to give someone a job,
Well, people do. You can get jobs, obviously, because of who your parents are. But I would say writing is one of the few things where it doesn't matter who you know or what you have. You either have a riveting script that takes you on a really incredible ride or you don't.
Yeah, no, and I guess, we've had people who have very accomplished, well-known parents on this show. And I, in a weird way, like nobody's going to shed any tears for them, right?
Yeah.
In the same, nobody's shedding any tears for you.
And we wouldn't want them to. Like
course,
you can't deny you can't deny Erin always talks about inroads. You can't, it's really, I think, embarrassing when people are like act oblivious to their privilege. Like we sit here going, we are so grateful and very aware of our privilege.
I guess what I'm saying though is it's like it could be a lot of pressure to live up to that kind of bar.
Yeah.
Because
I think if we were in the music business, right? I think if we wanted to go into the music business, if we wanted to be singers, that's a different, that would, I think that would be different.
There's a law in 48 Laws of Power.
There's a law in 48 Laws of Power.
I don't even know what that is.
Robert Greene, my favorite writer, 48 Laws of Power. And he says that I think the law is never try to live up to a great man's shoes.
Never follow in a great man's footsteps. But it's not just for what we're talking. It could be anything. Like if you have, a mentor that is a great politician, or you have a mom that is this or that, and you try to do that, you're always compared to that. And unless you surpass that, which is very hard. It's just, you're better to just go some completely different career path.
Someone who has done it pretty well, which it's very rare, is like Clint Eastwood's son. Like Scott Eastwood, he's kind of carved out an impressive.
I actually didn't
career.
realize he's his son. I thought
because
he was like a
went by a different name for a very long time. Before he got anything.
It's gonna be very hard to surpass that. So it's almost like choosing a different career is more strategic because you're always gonna feel like you're falling short. That is pressure.
100%. We were really lucky because we have no musical talent, so there was no question if we were gonna be in the music
also think that
following his footsteps because we just didn't have it.
But I even mean like for kids who like say take all like the someone who's maybe not known but who's just a very accomplished in business. Like they've just been very successful.
The bar's higher, of course it is. But I think that can also help drive you. Sure. I mean, we didn't have a dad who was like, putting pressure on us. Like I could accomplish this, so you have to accomplish that. But he very much would be like, people would say to him, "Why didn't you push your daughters to be in music?" And he'd be like, "That's not my job to push them to be in music. My parents didn't push me to be in music. Like it was a choice that I made because I was driven to do that. And so if you're driven to do that, you'll show up. You know where I am. I'm in the studio every single day after school. If you want to be there, you know where it is. But I shouldn't have to force you to do that. Like if you're drawn to something, no one can make you be better at that. Like you have to be responsible for your own destiny."
One thing that I find really refreshing about both of you two from afar is that you don't seem affected by a certain vapidness of Hollywood. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about just like peers, maybe of not friends, peers around you. There's a really like a down to earthness about you. Do you guys get that a lot? Where does that come from?
Well, we give our mom credit for that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, our dad is too. Our dad is, for all that he's accomplished, he's really down to earth. Thank you, first of all, for saying that. I've learned in therapy you're supposed to like let compliments land. So that's really nice. Thank you for saying that.
I only say our mom because we're women and you look at your mom for sort of the like setting the standard of how what your relationship with the world is or how you relate to other women or beauty. And our mom is just very earthy and she's very like, she goes up to women and tells women how beautiful they are all the time. And she's just not stuck in vanity. She's really quick to tell you how old she is. And she looks very real and normal. And I think growing up and seeing that as an example compared to a lot of the other things around just really made me want to like age gracefully and be comfortable in my own skin.
How do you guys deal with the vapidness that does come along with Hollywood?
It's so weird. I don't know if it's like for me, if I never fully feel like I belong. So there's that part of you that's still, would appear down to earth because I don't feel this entitled. I feel like anything I've built could be taken away from me at any time. So I'm always so afraid. I mean, listen, this is bad.
Sarah lives with a lot of fear.
I would live with a lot of fear, like a lot of self-esteem issues. And so I think that Erin does not. Erin's like, I am a 10.
No, but I just don't have that.
No. She doesn't have. And you know what's interesting? And I was going to say when we're talking about privilege, there are so many sort of layers and levels of privilege. Like I think it's real privilege to grow up in a home with two parents who make you feel really seen. I have friends who are literally the most confident women you have ever met in your life. And it came from the home they grew up in. It came from being in a home with two loving parents who were on the same page, who mirrored like an incredible relationship, and they're winning in life because of that step up. I do think that there are so many layers of privilege.
Are you answering the question? I don't know if you are.
I don't know.
Why do you think? Why are you so fearful?
Oh God.
What's going on there?
What are you so afraid of, Sarah?
Everything. No, listen, I think that I have a lot of guilt about my privilege. I think I have a lot of guilt about the opportunities we've been given. I think I feel guilt around, I don't know. I'm just always afraid things are going to be taken.
I have a book for you.
What?
I have a book for you. Have you read, Michael's going to get mad because I mention it every episode because it's changed my life. You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
Oh, I don't know it. You're such a little book nerd. I love it.
I know. I really
love this about you.
It's so cool you can read.
You want a book?
I'm so happy for you.
No, you don't have to even read it. Yeah. You can just listen to it.
Oh, do you know I've never done that? I've never done an
Hey, you're a
audiobook.
reader. You can read this
I like
book.
to read.
I
I've never-
listen
yeah.
to this book 8 times a year.
Really?
Interesting.
Just everything you're saying,
Is this?
it will teach you how to completely flip everything you just said.
Mhm. Sarah lives in fear there's not enough of something, right? That she always thinks like, I'm not gonna make enough money, or I'm not gonna, there's something that's not enough. And I just always, for some reason, think there's enough.
But
I
that
don't
goes
stress about
back
it.
to our child. That goes back to I was paying attention to things that she wasn't paying attention to.
Because
So
you were
I was-
older.
Yeah. So I was paying attention to my mom always being like, oh God, like, I don't know if I can pay for this, or I don't know if, always fearful around those things.
I had this conversation with my mother the other day because I have 2 younger siblings. And when I was a kid, my parents were going through tough times. And I think like when I was 3, 4, 5, I would see them freaking out about all those tough times. But then when my sisters came along, things were better. So I'm wired a little bit the same way. It was like, what can happen? So I think that probably if you're a child and your parents are going through that kind of stuff, you're getting that kind
Well,
of.
my mom
For
would come to
sure.
me when she'd be stressed. She'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, the child support hasn't come yet. Like, I don't know if we can do that thing. I mean, she
You-
would talk
so you
to me.
internalize all of it.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's taken us so long to unpack that. For her, I think for you to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, you were the oldest. Like,
Because I just thought she was a pathological liar. Because she would talk about her childhood. And I'm like, girl, you can't go around saying like we didn't grow up with anything. And like, you can't say that. We grew up with a lot, you know?
But I think that stuff gets wired really early because my other sister's 10 years younger than me, and by the time she
That's a
came
big
along,
gap.
everything was rolling for
Yeah.
her.
I'm
and so she
more
has
like
no.
you.
yeah.
I'm like,
You're always like, I'm going to be
We're
fine.
gonna be great.
So much money. Spend the money because we're gonna make more.
Yep.
I feel like you just have to just tell yourself that.
I do think it's a bit of a state of mind because you have to believe, you have to bet on yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm betting on myself and I know that I'm going to win. And then B, if I don't win, if I lose money, if this is the peak of where I get to, that has to be okay.
Yeah.
It just has to be. Like, I am very comfortable living with what is. Not what I want it to be, but like what is. Like, I can make the most of it. I really believe that I can make the most of it.
You're also not on this train that I think a lot of people are on right now, which is this hustle mentality where people are so addicted to more and more and
Yeah.
more, and nothing's enough. It's like we live in this multi-hyphenate world now where if you don't have a podcast and a brand and investments and you work at a tech company and you're acting, like, then you're not doing enough.
You're 100% right.
And I
True.
think, and I think that it's really actually bad because everyone ends up doing just like 30% at everything, and you can't be 100% at all those things. And I'm sitting here as someone who has my hand in a lot of different things, and I sort of sometimes go like, okay, have all these things happen because I've just been really trying to understand.
Like
And
the
being-
motivation behind it.
Yeah, and be intentional with everything we're doing. And you're somebody that doesn't fall into that trap. Like, you're not this person that feels this addiction to any of it. And I think, honestly, you have when you have innate talent, when you are a writer, when you are someone who truly, no one can take that from you. You don't need Instagram. She's like, you don't need it to give you validation. And I think we live in a world now where it used to be we only knew someone's name if they were like killing it, right? But now, because of all the things, it just fucks with people, I think. I think it
it's
really
hard.
fucks with people, and you don't have it.
Thank you.
Erin doesn't have it.
I struggle a lot with all the things you just listed and then showing up as a mother.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Because it's like you got to check all the boxes, and then also like I want to be the best mother, but you can't. It's like the 30% thing you said.
Yep.
I totally understand that. I feel like I'm sometimes doing things 30%, and
And you really don't want to be doing 30% of being a mom.
that's really hard. At the same time, to do it 100% hands-on, always present, would take away from doing
course.
the career. And I don't think that would make me fully fulfilled. So it's a mind fuck.
But your kids do you guys have boys or girls?
A
One of
boy and a
each.
girl.
Oh, the perfect family. It's so cute. But I think that you have to also remember that, for kids growing up with a working mom who's like, I love you, I want to be there, I have to miss this thing, is also a sense of pride that you give your kids. Because as they get older,
Yeah.
they're really proud. You have a boy who's going to want to fall in love with a woman who is independent and makes her own money, and a girl who looks up and is like, I can do it all. Like, I can be a mom and I can work. And so if you reframe it, I feel like your kids are going to one day be like, it's really dope that you were working your ass off when you were raising us.
I hope so, but I do have to say my son is going to be living with me for the rest of his life.
You're marrying your son.
I whisper Oedipus in his ear, like
So fucking weird.
Yeah, it's my
Moms and their sons.
So my son's going to stay
So
with
you're
me.
in a relationship with your son.
But let me tell you, all my guy friends that had moms that did all that
this is
stuff,
his
they
favorite thing to
struggle a
talk
lot
about.
later with women.
No, go off on
Because-
the umbilical cord
No,
and
because
how
they're
you
not
didn't
used
have
to.
it.
Yeah.
They're not used to getting with a woman that doesn't make everything about them. Because like the main
Yeah.
woman in their life makes
Oh,
everything about
yes.
them.
That's
Michael's
a good point.
mom did not make everything
My
about
mom's
him.
half Japanese,
Set me up
so-
perfect.
Your mom is half.
Yeah,
I do
yeah, it's
not-
hard. It's hard to tell.
I
I know.
really don't see this in
Yeah,
you.
I know. My
Your
sisters see a little bit
mom
more.
is half Japanese.
Yeah, she's half Japanese. I'm quarter Japanese.
I am fascinated, but you're the whitest looking person.
She's half
I've
Italian,
seen.
half
His
Japanese.
penis is
Is
It's
Asian?
a quarter Japanese penis. No, but she
They're
she
really
gave me-
known for being really well endowed.
Yeah,
That's
just-
a
yeah.
great thing.
No, it's like just good and then a quarter. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my
Um,
god!
I think if you can say, oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying like I had the dynamic of like that kind of Asian household.
Yeah.
Where it's like a little and I'm grateful for it now. And she worked all the time too. And
Uh-huh.
I'm attracted to women that are doing
Yeah.
things. But I see a lot of my guy friends that moms they baby them and made them
Yeah.
about everything, and then they get in a relationship and they don't get that. They're like, what's going on
Here's
here?
how I justify it.
course.
Okay, here's how I
Yeah,
justify
don't set
it.
them up don't set them up to fail.
No. I justify all the things I do and the things that I miss for my, my kids. I justify it because you have to know when to say no to people, right? And to events and to invitations and to trips. So it's like for me, I'm saying I'm getting invited to something, really cool, some Hollywood event. And I'm going, no, thank you. I'm staying home. I'm putting my kids to bed. So I think what happens is we see a lot of working, moms who don't
What's
know
the air
how
quotes?
to.
Are they not really working?
No, but just a lot of women who don't know how to say no. So it's like you're doing the podcast, you're doing the brand, you're doing the this, you're doing the that, you're doing the movie, you're doing the business stuff, whatever. And you're also like out every night.
Right, so you're
So I
teaching that
think you-
addiction to your kids.
Yeah. So I think if there's a balance, I think if you're doing all the things, that's great. But for me, and this is probably bad, but I don't really go on like Cabo trips. And some would say that's bad. Some would say you need to go do the Cabo trips with your girlfriends. But for me, the only way for it all to work with me is I put my kids to bed basically every night.
I'm the same way.
Every night. And I drive them to school every morning.
Every housewife I've ever interviewed, I'm like, how do you do those girls trips? I'm like,
Oh, those are insane.
And
Those
I
are
don't want to
toxic.
be judgmental because I've been judgmental on my podcast. And it's like, who the fuck am I? Like, everyone should do what works for them. I'm just saying what works for me and why my kids don't feel like my mom is always gone and my mom's always doing this is because of nighttime.
I like to be in bed at 7:30, so I'm on the same vibration, and that's why I like Austin because it's a protective bubble, and we can come here and we can do what we need to do, and come with our briefcase and leave with it, and we're back.
When did you guys move to Austin?
2020.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like
Oh. Like
I'm
right
the
before it
same
got
way.
crazy.
And I look through it of a lens is like, is this
Good
worth
timing.
being away from my kids?
I also don't have FOMO. Do you have? You must not.
No.
Yeah. So
FOMO.
FOMO's, but you guys, FOMO's a real.
No, I get
thing.
JOMO, joy of missing out.
Yeah.
We
I think
say no
a
to
lot
almost
of people
everything.
get JOMO now, though.
Maybe
I'm
it doesn't look
noticing
like it.
more
COVID changed
yeah,
things.
Yeah. Listen, I only want to do things I want to do.
Same.
Yeah, like you were
Simple.
asking when you came in, like we'll do this like a hard week of just like a bunch of these, but then we're kind of
Do you
recluses.
guys have a vitamin company? Did I make that up?
No.
You don't have a vitamin company?
No.
Maybe I've worked with.
You have something, but you have like products and
Not like fraud vibes.
Oh, I'm
though,
going to give you an
vitamin
ice
company.
roller.
Yeah, you're the ice roller, but
Ice
wait, you have
roller.
nothing to do with any vitamin company.
I mean, I'm
No.
sure we talk about a lot of. But
Okay.
we talk about health and wellness a lot.
It's
We
very
talk about
interesting you
supplements.
guys
Okay.
doing this podcast together. I'm so fascinated, like that dynamic. It's cool.
Well, look at it this
Yeah,
way:
I
we've
like
known
it.
each other since we were 12. Except sometimes people get weird about the banter, like, "Oh my God, does she hate?" Because
I'm
we
sure that you guys get that too.
But
The banter. Like,
imagine
people get mad about the banter.
Yeah.
knowing somebody
They can imagine.
since you were 12, right? So
But in a romantic relationship,
Imagine.
it's different because
Since fetuses.
there's an expectation of siblings to like be like bitchy towards each other. But in a relationship, it's like it's a more fragile dynamic. So I could see how people would try to find fault in that.
I
You guys,
get
I
eaten
love your
alive.
guys' dynamic. It's
I get
really
eaten
good.
alive
Yeah,
on
of
YouTube.
course.
They're like,
We,
she's so mean to her husband. I'm like, he loves it.
No, every woman
he
in
likes
my-
being heckled.
every woman in my life, going back to mothers and sons, like every woman in my life that I have strong relationships with, like even like this business I co-founded with my partner is a woman, right?
Wait, what's the business?
Dear Media.
Wait, is Dear Media
you
yours?
co-founded it.
Yeah, I'm the
Did not
CEO.
know that. Good for you.
Yeah. So
Oh my
That's
god!
how I see you at network. You're on.
What the
Good for
fuck?
you.
This is your
That sounds
business.
like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're like,
Good for
why
you.
are you?
But I get it. I get
Oh
what you're
my
a little bit
god!
of a mind fuck.
it just got hotter. She's like,
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Forget
look
about
at
the
you.
hairline.
No.
No, she's into him now.
Yeah, no.
You know what?
Wait,
I could use
I slowly reel them
Sarah
in
just
over
started
time.
taking you way more seriously.
no, but
you just sat up straight. No.
I'm like, my god.
we slowly, Patty Singer was here the other day, and I was like, I slowly reel them in that way.
That's really
Don't
funny.
you don't want to lead with it, you know?
Yeah.
No, but I think like back
You're
to my.
literally talking on a Dear Media mic with the Dear Media background in, and you could be wearing a Dear Media shirt.
Listen, I love doing the podcast with my wife, but from an enterprise standpoint, I
Right,
needed to
you're
make it
doing a lot of
a
other-
little
of course.
bigger, right?
Yeah,
I
of
needed to
course.
be
I
like,
like a man who thinks
Right.
big.
I can't just say like we're just
Right.
going to do a podcast together. We got to like think a little bigger. But
like that.
but most of
Like
the
Mauricio,
women,
like Mauricio. Mauricio's not just that husband; he is a rich as fuck.
Well, they're actually divorced, I think.
Okay,
I
but
don't think that's ending very well.
I
Mauricio-
don't know where I even came up with that comparison.
We like Mauricio. He was on the show.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Well, he's
Sorry,
doing very
continue.
well.
No, but I'm
very
mostly
well.
attracted to very strong women in my life.
Mhm.
That's who I spend most of the time with. I've done very poorly with, and I get fucking eaten for this. I've done very poorly with women where I can just kind of like truck over. I need somebody that's going to like really give it to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does that make
But
sense?
you shouldn't get burned for that because the truth is, like, we all have the issues that we were given from our childhood or whatever. We all have our preferences. And if there's a girl who, there's plenty of guys who like girls that are a damsel in distress and they want to be saved. And that's not what you're attracted to. And you're allowed to be attracted to whatever you want.
Like I don't need the meal on the table at home. I would be like, what are you doing? You know, it's-
I'm not an octopus. Like, what do you want me to like? It's like the blowjob, the brand. I got to be a mom.
Are you doing a lot of blowjobs?
I do need the
Yeah, all
blowjob
the time. I'll do a blowjob all the time.
You're doing weekly blowjobs?
whenever.
Whenever he wants. That's a hot tip to being
Wait,
married.
wait.
I can break it down. I have a whole
Wait, wait,
theory
wait.
on this.
Wait, hold on. So, wait.
We haven't been
I'm
together
sorry.
this long for no reason.
No. Okay. So, there's never been a time when he's like, wants to fuck, or is like,
You
okay.
don't need to
And
whisper,
you're like,
you have
I'm
a microphone in front of
yeah,
your face.
and you're like,
It's
I'm
not a source of
tired.
shame.
Like, I'm tired. Not tonight.
I'm tired all the time.
But you just grin and bear it and
No, but
you
listen-
like do it?
I'm going to tell advice. I say this on the podcast. I called my stepmom when we were first dating, when I was 21 years old, and I was bartending until midnight. And I was doing this blog, and I was exhausted, and I was going to school full time. And I said, he wants to have sex all the time. I'm just tired. And my stepmom goes, Lauren, you rally. And ever since she said that to me,
Thank you, Julie.
in my entire life, I rally.
Wow.
Because I think, like,
No, but hold on. But
I think it's important.
You're
I
gonna
do,
paint a
and
bad
people
picture.
get mad at me for saying
hold
this.
on. You're going to paint a bad picture.
No,
of me, though.
I know a lot
I
of
don't
women
care.
that
I don't
think
care
it's a
if
bad
people get
picture.
mad.
If
I think
see
it's great. I love it. I
that
think
she's like
it's-
beat up and done and tired, I'm not like, let's
No, but
fucking
I
go.
have like
you
little
know?
tricks that I could tell you later. Like I tape my mouth shut and let's look at do not disturb.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm not a
He
creep
doesn't
about
care.
it. I'm not
Nah,
going
you
to be
tried
like,
to
hey,
fuck
you
me
look
with my
really
mouth. You're not,
disheveled.
like,
But you're
peeling
not
the
going to
tape
like
off.
shame her if she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I'm not like, hey, you said you'd rally and you're like on your last leg. No, I'm not like,
No, he's
You're thoughtful.
I try to be
respectful.
thoughtful.
Okay, so you don't have like flu sex, or you do?
Flu sex?
We've
like-
had flu sex. I don't know if it's
I don't
flu.
know if I'm into flu sex.
I don't know if I'm into flu
Maybe
sex
you're not
either.
asking for it.
No.
I'll rally.
Good for you.
And I
but
think-
you'll be married forever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
I
will.
don't know. I might want to evolve. I might want to have a second marriage, a third. I don't know. Who knows? You know.
Wow.
You never know.
I do think that blowjobs are a
Okay.
secret sauce to a happy marriage. I do.
It's once you get the hang of it too, and it's like it's 2 minutes of
And
your
also,
life.
I was
Just
just
give
gonna
me a
say,
little more
if you,
credit.
if you know what you're doing, it really
Well,
shouldn't
I
take that
took
long.
a class once. I don't know if it really worked, but like, have you heard of this like basket weave thing? I did. I took a whole class.
Basket
What's the
weave.
basket
Weave,
weave?
like you're supposed to like basket weave. You're supposed to work the tip.
Well,
That is what.
basket we've going like
It's
this.
like
what is this? I've never seen.
Wait, I don't know. I think it's like that's
I've
not.
never seen.
That's not what I
will
should do.
say.
I don't think you need any lessons.
You guys, I've been in a relationship for 17 years. So like blowjobs are like
17 years.
yeah, 17 years.
That's
Where
good.
did you
Good for
guys
you.
meet?
Congratulations. That's awesome.
We met in New York at Nobu next door.
So the
And it's like
basket
a really
weave's
long
working.
story. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know if it is. I don't think it's.
17 years
Yeah.
is a long time.
It's a really long time.
And
Married
My
17,
whole
together
life.
17.
We're not married.
Okay.
Together,
Wow.
17 years, 2 kids.
You're Goldie Hawning.
yeah.
Look,
I don't
she
know.
got that example, the Goldie Hawning.
Mhm.
I like that.
Well,
I
I just was always like, okay, if you don't get married, you can't get divorced. Like, I cannot get married. But I never dreamed of a wedding. Like, I was proposed to by guys I was in love with pre him, and I was like, it was not like exciting to me.
I think that's so cool that you've been together 17 years and you're not married.
Yeah, but it doesn't come with its own issues.
Why?
Because he is more traditional. I mean, the truth is, like, it's not the healthiest. Looking at it in hindsight, it probably would have been better to do it.
But you won't do it now,
Really?
even after all this time?
Well, I don't mean.
She's got
We're
it.
gonna tackle
It's
it.
already, she has
Yeah.
20 different things going on, and she already is feeling like the 30% thing, and now you got to get married
But
on top of
With all due
Oh,
respect,
Oh well, I would never do like a wedding.
and I just met you.
Yeah.
But might as well. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like a little bit of like a trauma thing here. Where he's like 17 years. Hasn't he proved it? If he wants that, maybe.
Well, I think it gets to a point where it becomes like more resentful. He's always like, okay, well, like, fuck you. You know what I mean? He doesn't say that, but I think it becomes a thing. Like, the man proposes, he proposed, and I was very much like, oh no, we are not getting married. Like, let's just be together. That marriage is, what if we get divorced? That's so traumatizing.
It's like a rejection at some point.
Exactly. But I
Uh-huh.
didn't look at it like that for a long time. I mean, it's fine. We have 2 kids, 17 years. It's a very long time. But
I think it's sexy.
I don't.
It is complicated.
Yeah.
I think it's sexy.
It becomes,
It's
I
unique.
thought it was sexy. And the truth is, it maybe is a little complicated. And the kids are a little bit like, huh. And, he's like, well, ask mom.
Kids
why?
have his last
So,
name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have his last name.
And how old
I
are
was
they?
like, at least
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
13 and 8.
13 and 8.
Yeah.
I think it's hot and sexy.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean-
what I like about
Could have
it.
saved a lot of paperwork and a lot
No,
of
what
time.
I do like about it
It's
is like you guys want to stay because you want to stay. I think there's something
Totally.
loving in that.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
No, either one of us could walk out at any time.
That's-
And literally, we don't have, I mean,
It would be hard.
it would be hard. That's true.
And
It-
how
the
long
kids
have you
make it
been
tough.
married?
Yeah.
I've been married since what year is it?
2019.
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And do you like being married?
I love being married.
And what's
I'm
your
way more
husband's vibe?
traditional.
No, Erin's like a housewife. Erin lives for cooking. She's like a Michelin star chef
Wow.
every night. She'll literally come home from a 15-hour writer's room, pregnant, show up, blow him, and then make him a meal.
You know what?
Stop.
And then
now
clean
that I
the
hear
kitchen.
this, actually, Lauren,
It's true.
maybe I do need you to switch
Yeah.
gears a little bit.
Anyway, she's like an insane cook.
You're 9 months pregnant, cooking, blowing all the things.
All of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
and working.
See, Lauren,
Yeah.
you say you can't cook. You can. Now you can.
I
see-
do everything that is
well,
on the
looks
list.
like you can do one more now.
No, Erin's an insane cook.
No, I wife pretty hard, but my husband is just the best. Like, we're just, I don't know. We just got really, really lucky with each other, and we're just obsessed with each other. So
How did you guys meet?
We met
At the
at
gym.
Gym.
Wow.
Did he come up to you?
No, I hit on him.
Wow.
Well, she
I
slid
know.
into his DMs.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, you saw him working out at the gym, and then you
Mhm.
found him on Instagram.
After we did the episode about air quality, I personally emailed the Jasper team and said, can you guys come over to my house and put a Jasper air filter in both my kids' rooms and downstairs? I already had 2, but I wanted 2 more in my house. I just think it made so much sense when he was saying that we all think about what we're eating, what skin products we use, and none of us are thinking about the air that we're breathing, and we're in the air all day. It's the most beautiful air purifier on the market by far, but it's also the most effective. I have found my sleep is so much better when I sleep with it on. I wouldn't even give it to my kids. On the episode, I was like, I'm keeping my own. My kids have to get another one. It's awesome for sleep, mold, allergies, skin, aging. If you have eczema, if you have any rashes, it's great for that. I also think if you have asthma, it's a non-negotiable. So my sleep stack is red light, little magnesium water, my Kindle, Skinny Confidential mouth tape, and a Jasper. This is the ultimate sleep sack, let me tell you. But clean air is really a non-negotiable. This is so important. We're breathing it every single day, all day long. Due to the crazy high demand from the podcast episode, Jasper is extending the $200 offer until the end of June. You guys, they're giving you $200 off per Jasper. Use code SKINNY at checkout. The offer is $200 off per Jasper. The website is jasper.co/skinny. That's JASPR.co/skinny. I have possibly the best PMS hack on the planet. And I've been playing with this and trying it, and it is so good, you guys. Okay. So sometimes I'll get like a stomach ache when I'm on my period or like a cramp. And what I've been doing is I'm spraying 2,700 plus milligrams of elemental magnesium on my stomach. Okay. This is a miracle mineral, and it's known to ease discomfort and soothe period symptoms. So the other night, not only did I do that, I sprayed it all over my stomach. Then I took my heated, warmed lavender neck pillow and I put it on top of this magnesium. spray that I put on my stomach. And it was seriously insane. I didn't need to take an Advil. I could just lay there and relax. And the amazing magnesium did its work. The one that I've been using is a cycle soothing spray, and it's by Primally Pure. I will never, ever, ever in my life have my period again without this cycle soothing spray and my weighted neck pillow on my stomach. Primally Pure offers clean products, so you guys can go on their site. You can get skin, body, hair, home, deodorant, all the things. If you're tired of discomfort for your monthly menstrual cycle, try the Cycle Soothing Spray from Primally Pure. Go to primallypure.com/skinny. That's www.primallypure.com/skinny. Use code skinny at checkout for 15% off your order. Visit primallypure.com/skinny and enter code skinny at checkout. You get 15% off your order. You may have heard me talk about my daily non-negotiables on past episodes, one of which is a morning walk with my son. So after I wake up, I try to make the bed, I hydrate with an electrolyte water, and I do my quick wellness and skincare routine. I make my kids breakfast. Then my son and I go outside for a walk. So he's in the stroller and I'm doing a walking meditation. We get in our morning light and movement in, and we love it. It's like a habit stack if I've ever seen one. And during those morning walks, I'm wearing Nike, specifically my Indie bra and my Nike Motiva walking shoes. The bra is so supportive. In fact, it comes in different support levels, so you can get like low, medium, or high support depending on the size of your boobs or preference. Plus, the bra has adjustable straps and is so comfortable. Nike's Motiva walking shoes are smooth, they're cushioned, they're comfortable, they're great for like a daily walk. And what I like about them is they give you optimum support for every move every day. I have plantar fasciitis, and these are amazing for that. Both the Indie bra and the Nike Motivas are the move. The Indie bra just sculpts your body in a perfect way. I feel like we've been talking a lot lately about tailored, well-fitting clothes, and this is it when it comes to athletic wear. Another thing that I love is they're both so durable. So you're getting high-quality, flattering apparel that you can wash and wear over and over again. You'll just keep reaching for these staples just like me. Shop now at Nike.com. Again, that's Nike.com.
Well, I saw him working out at the gym. Sarah worked out at the same gym, and Sarah dresses like a huge whore at the gym. And
So do I.
he
Nice.
didn't hit on her. And I was like, that's a good step in the right direction. He also didn't hit on me.
Oh, he did.
Oh, Sarah's like, yeah, he did. No, he did not.
He did.
But I mean, I wouldn't have blamed him if he did. He was just very much like, you don't hit on girls at the gym because then it like you screws up your schedule if something gets weird. You know, like he's like, I don't want to lose my like 9 a.m. time slot.
Yeah.
So it's not
He's
worth
like
it
a very
to me.
good guy.
Yeah. So anyway, I just started feeling like something was up with him. Like I just felt a vibe. I was like, I just liked his vibe. And I got kind of drunk by myself one night, and I went onto the gym's Instagram.
Okay, see, I love his stock like this. Keep
Mhm.
going. Walk us through it. The cousins,
Then I-
sisters, dads,
Yeah.
dogs.
Then I found the
Uh-huh.
trainers,
Uh-huh.
and then I
Man,
found
girls are
his
wild.
trainer.
Yep, found it.
And then I found who his trainer follows.
Uh-huh.
Found a guy named Simon.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, it's private. I can't like snoop around his life. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
he's a girlfriend. I don't know how old he is. So I'll just
Follow. And that's how it started.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say, I'm happy that worked out for you, but I would not like to be hit on at the gym. If I
No.
was sweating and working out and a guy came up to me, I'd be like, what?
That's why he said that it was like
He doesn't
never
wanna go up.
appropriate. He
I
was
get
just like, he was very much like, there's a boundary there. I'm not going to cross it. And I was like, well, I will cross it.
Yeah. So
No, I think it's
initiated-
okay if the girl crosses, but it's a
Yeah.
little creepy when the guy.
Yeah, I
in
agree.
the
But there
gym.
is like kind of an interesting lesson in this is that we found out years later that years before that, one of
Oh, yeah.
Erin's friends had said to him, you know who you should meet? Erin Foster.
No. There was no names.
There wasn't?
There was no names. But our girlfriend, Julie Yorn, this girl was playing a poker game at someone's house. She was sat next to Simon 3 years before we met. And I'm 2 years older than Simon. And he was like a fuckboy before we met. And they were sitting at this poker game, and she was like, you are such a great guy. Like, I have a girlfriend I would love to set you up with. And he goes, how old is she? And she said, 33. And he's like, nah, I'm out. And then he met me in person 2 years later when I was 35. And he was into me in person, but the idea of the 33-year-old was not for him.
I noticed that your friends can be like that too.
I think every
You
guy
know
can
what
be like
I
that.
have,
Yeah.
I have to do? I would love your guys' take on this. There's a little bit of a epidemic going on.
What is it?
The epidemic is that guys are trying to pick the girl like they're picking out a cake at Vaughn's. It's like vanilla, cherry sprinkles.
No, but everyone's doing
I
that.
want a rim of lace with 16 black candles with the plastic. Like you can't get every single little tiny little detail. You're not
everyone's
going
doing
to
that,
find
though.
anyone.
But it's also when you're dating online, you're looking at a profile like it's a cake, right? You're
Yeah.
like, it's a menu. Okay, he's this height, he has this color hair, he's been married this many times, he has this many kids, he does this for a living, so he probably makes this amount of money. This is what his friends look like. You're looking at it like it's a menu, and it's such an interesting example that for Simon, the idea of a woman in her 30s, he was like, I'm not interested in that because I don't want what she wants. A woman who's 33 wants to settle down. That's not where I'm at in my life. But then in real life, he meets someone 2 years later who's 35 now, who's like definitely looking to settle down. But you aren't looking at it like these menu options. You're looking like a person. And he liked the whole package. He just didn't like the idea when you're giving the stats.
We always say on paper, it's never as good as you think. Like we have friends who are, 40 with 3 kids and blah, blah. You go tell a single guy that like, oh, she's 40, she's got a couple. You're like, no, that's a pass. But then you meet her in person. You're like, holy shit.
I can make this work.
She's freaking hot. She's fun. She's cool. She's intelligent.
And that's the problem with
like,
dating online, I think.
Yeah.
Because Simon and I were both on the same dating apps, but like I probably wasn't in his algorithm because he like cut the age off before me,
Right. But imagine
and you
if,
guys
like,
are soulmates.
Joe Rogan
Yeah.
was on the dating app. Like he's like, I think he's 5'6".
Literally.
He has no hair.
Mhm,
Like I
mhm.
think that people need to be a little bit more fluid. That like what you guys are saying. Like you got to like meet someone in person and
Yeah.
feel their essence and
It's
like
hard now, though.
feel their frequency.
Yeah.
And like I
It's
mean,
true. It's
you
so
know,
easy to judge
And
someone
we're
so
saying
quickly.
that as former creative directors of Bumble. Like we worked at Bumble for years.
oh my God,
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
true.
have to tell us about that.
Yeah.
Creative directors of Bumble.
Yeah.
Did you love doing that?
We loved it. It was great.
No, it
So-
was awesome.
How did you
You guys
guys?
were early there.
We were early there.
How did
Yeah.
you get that? Like what did you do as a creative
Because
director?
her team, Whitney's team, the founder of Bumble, her team loved our show. So we came and did a speaking engagement to her team.
Mhm.
No, not to her team. We did a panel with her at
Whatever it was.
the
It was a
Bumble
speaking
Hive.
engagement.
What year did you join?
2017.
So early.
Yeah, it was early. It was really cool. I mean, that really is what kicked off us navigating
path for
into
us.
like tech and more of a business side of our career.
I was going to ask you guys how you got into investing and all that because you're savvy investors.
It really
But-
started with Bumble because Bumble really opened our eyes. Whitney's really cool about thinking outside the box, and so we had this great panel. She saw that we really could like speak to women, and she thought, I want to hire you guys in a larger capacity. And so she brought us on, and it really kind of woke us up to our abilities outside of entertainment. And then that kind of made us confident to start. We'd never had equity in a company before.
By the way, everyone told us not to take the job. They were like, "You are just coming
Fire
into
those
your
people.
own as."
I know.
Yeah, but we found that a lot in our
Uh-huh.
careers. But everyone was like, "You are just coming off of your show, Barely Famous." People were talking about it and putting us in a box that we had never been in. We were all of a sudden these respected comedic actresses, and it was opening up this whole new world for us. And then we went and took that job. So people were like, "Wait a minute, the New York Times is saying you guys are like the blonde, Curb
It's
Your
like doing
Enthusiasm."
a Vegas residency and
Yeah.
like thinking that your career's over or something.
Right.
No,
And
but I
it
wasn't
didn't
the market
happen.
for that, but I remember feeling like when that happened, like the brand got a personality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And that was Whitney's.
Yeah, that's great.
I
That's
think
awesome.
it's hot to have juxtaposition. Like, when Supreme does a collab with like something so random,
Mhm.
and you're like, huh? Or when Glossier did the collab with Swiss Miss chocolate.
I didn't see that, but that's cool.
You remember Swiss Miss,
course.
like the chocolate powder, and Glossier did that. I love how
like an
you wouldn't-
unexpected
Yes.
pairing. Yeah.
That's why I thought that Bumble thing. It's like it felt cool. You know what I mean?
It was really cool for us. I mean, it really set us on a different path, and that I think now it's really common for people in entertainment to be connected with a brand like that, but at the time it wasn't, and so it was one of those things that really taught us to take a risk and say yes to something that might seem sort of out of your comfort zone or you might fail at it, but you don't know until you try. And what's the worst that happens? Like you fail and then you go back to something else. And I think you just have to. It's another area where I think for Sara, she was really scared and worried to fail at it and that it like sends us down the wrong path. And for me, I was like, this is sort of a once in a lifetime opportunity. You have this crazy chance and it either pays off like really, really big or it kind of goes away. And
I was just really
Let's do
excited
it.
because for the first time in my life, I was sort of being taken seriously as an actress. I mean, kind of, and I had never experienced that. So I was finally feeling that. And then I was like, wait, if we go do this, then I'm not going to get another opportunity. Like then I was just, everything
Yeah, I
I
get
do,
that.
everything I do is fear-based, But then what happened is, a huge part of investing in early stage consumer companies is you're educating the customer, right? So we had to educate the customer on why it's not lame to go find a friend on Bumble, because we were brought on to launch the Bumble BFF and Biz arms of the business. So a lot of education comes along with that. Like, guys, it's cool. Like, it's cool to meet friends online. It's cool to meet potential business partners online. And then from that, we got the Mirror, which was pre-launch,
Workout mirror.
early stage, the workout mirror. And we had to then educate the consumer on why it's not weird to work out to a mirror. And it became this thing like, oh, you want to launch your brand? Like, call the Fosters, like bring them on. So that's how we started just getting so much deal flow. And we were angel investing and writing small checks and always getting advisory shares. And it got to a point where we were leaving too much money on the table by not raising money.
So you started your own fund.
We raised money because we wanted to write, $400,000 checks instead of $25,000 checks.
So how do you even think to start that and conceptualize it? How does that even start?
Well, we had a problem,
okay.
right? Our problem was we're getting deal flow that we can't fill. So we're getting allocations to deals that are really good and where we'd be so lucky to be on the cap table. And we're like, we can't.
So
We don't have the
someone says,
personal
hey, you guys,
capital
we'll give you
anymore.
$1 million allocation. You're like, okay, we don't have the $1 million for all
Totally.
these different
$1
deals.
million. I mean,
Or whatever.
150,000.
Sure, whatever it is.
Whatever it was. So Erin's husband goes, you guys, you've reached the point now. Like, you need real skin in the game. You need to own between, 3 and 10% of these businesses that you
Smart
are
husband.
helping.
I know.
You guys need
All
to
those
go.
blowjobs are really getting. He thinks
Blow it
very
down,
clearly.
blow the house
Yeah.
down.
He's
Really
like,
think
you
clearly.
guys need to go out and you need to raise money, but you need to do it with a great partner because you're doing a million other things. So I know who your partner should be. It should be this guy, Phil Schwartz. Phil is an investor out of Chicago. He brought us the Mirror because it was too late stage for his firm. He brought it to us. We had stayed in contact with him. And he's like, that's who you need to do it with. So he's our partner. His fund in Chicago anchored our fund. And it's like an incredible,
Yeah, it's been cool.
it's an incredible partnership.
And so what stage companies are you looking at now?
I mean, like seed A, like
okay.
we're opportunistic up to a little bit of the fund, but
I wonder we should.
seed.
Well, the reason I asked you asked about the supplement thing. Now I understand maybe because what we do through here is we will write checks, but we're not a VC, so we'll do early. And we stood up these brands. We'll put.
But you don't like lead rounds. You just
We have led rounds,
Oh, interesting.
but early. But then we'll go into things. I don't know how much I want to say, but after I'll tell you. But we go into a
Yeah.
lot of things, and the theory is that then this platform of Dear Media can help accelerate
For sure.
those things.
Yeah.
But
Makes
to your
sense.
point,
Right. You're like, if I'm moving the needle for you guys, I need
but
to.
we find people like you that will lead, and then we'll say, okay,
We don't lead rounds.
Okay, or
We're
But
it's
our
not
partner
strategic.
does.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
our partner does.
But you get what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
like the theory is like, okay, like could this platform give a greater lift
Yeah.
to whatever it is?
Mhm.
And I think what's cool about Dear Media is that there's 100 podcasts on it, so you can put it through the funnel of the podcast.
Yeah.
Totally. No, you guys have built an incredible thing.
Yeah.
It's all him.
No,
No,
but
it's not. Because
no, it's not all.
No, it's
all
not.
him.
It's not all me. It's
all
really
him.
not.
Don't sell yourself short. Those blowjobs are really getting things done.
No, I
Blowjobs,
was-
talent recommendations,
maybe similar to you guys. I early,
conversation.
No, it's a partnership.
He talks a lot in the morning.
no, but I looked at like how hard it was because I come from the e-com world. I looked at how expensive it was getting. And I'm like, what's the unfair advantages if you could eliminate that
You
spend?
mean to acquire a customer?
Yeah. So if you can eliminate that spend and speak directly to the person, that's an unfair
Well, that's what we're doing
advantage.
Favorite Daughter with our clothing company.
Yeah, I
You
want to
know.
talk about you as entrepreneurs because I look at you as entrepreneurs now. Is that how you would identify?
I would like that. Yeah, I think. That's
I
good.
mean, it's crazy. Like,
Multi-hyphenate.
yeah. I mean, I think, sure, I'll take it all. I mean, I think, I don't know for you. I mean, Erin's the creator of a Kristen Bell Netflix show that premieres in
September.
Rad.
September.
No big deal.
So,
Casual.
yeah, casual.
Yeah.
Casual.
Yeah.
Well,
Creator of
let's
a-
see if it's a hit. Hopefully, it's a hit.
It's
it's
going
a
to
hit.
be a hit. You
It's
have to
for
say
sure
it's
a
going
hit.
to be the biggest hit
It's gonna
ever.
be the biggest
yeah.
hit ever.
No, but it actually is.
You're kind of funny because
It's
well, you're really funny, but because you're like very confident, but also like kind of hedging a little bit.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I try
Like
not
it's
to
a big
get.
deal what we're talking about.
Did you
but
guys think
you're-
you were going to come to
It
therapy?
is a big deal. No, it's a big deal, but I think I always I think I try to take things with like a measured amount of excitement or enthusiasm because
I've had so many disappointments.
Yeah, like especially as a writer, honestly, you do a lot of work that you don't get paid to do, or you get paid really good money for something that never makes it on the air. And the second something is dropped or canceled, or they don't want your script or whatever it is, you genuinely have to like close that chapter and move on to the next thing. You have to get over it. Like there's no turning back.
Hard.
No one else is gonna buy it from you now. Like those words will go nowhere. No one will see them. You just have to like let it go.
I mean, occasionally other streamers or networks will come and revive, but it very
it's
seldom.
really hard to
Once
make
you're
that
dead,
happen,
you're
though.
dead.
So I just sort of have a mentality of like, if it's a hit, everyone's going to know it's a hit and I don't have to talk about it, right? If I hype it up and it's not a hit, then that'll be embarrassing. So I like to try to let it speak for itself.
I feel like though you have to go through all those different things you went through to get to where you need to be. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Like,
no, I've had a really unique year that has felt really exciting. I'm not trying to downplay it in a way that it's like so humble, it's unrealistic or something. Like it's more an internal thing where I get really excited and proud of myself in like small ways, but I get nervous to hype something up publicly because I have no control at this point whether people love it or hate it, you know? So I kind of am curious to see what happens, but it was very interesting for me to be pregnant while shooting, you know, my first like full to series show on Netflix with stars that were in it like they were in it. It was really surreal for me and really challenging and, you know, fulfilling in a very cool way.
what's it about?
It's loosely based on me. When I met my husband, I converted to Judaism for him,
Okay.
or for me, but you know, because of him. And the process was just so interesting. And so I sold a show about a girl who has a podcast that's sort of about like sex in the modern world. And then she falls in love with this guy who's this young, cute rabbi. So my husband's not a rabbi. He's just Jewish. But for the sake of the show, you know, you like dial it up a little bit.
But to be clear, we sold this when we had a deal at Disney like 5 years ago. So the fact that it's actually happening now, I think there's such a disconnect that people don't understand how long things can actually take, you
Yeah, it
know?
does take a long
And then
time.
it becomes real when Kristen Bell and Adam Brody want to be in it. And
Yeah, they're really cute together.
So do you just keep firing off things like that one you did? You have to wait 5 years, but in between,
no,
you
we
just
tried to sell like
keep going?
10
No, I mean,
things
I-
under our deal. We didn't sell anything.
But I was having a real crisis of faith for a few years because I was a writer who wrote about my life experiences, typically about being single and like not figuring it out. And then I met someone and I got really happy and I didn't feel very inspired. And he's very private, so he was sort of like, you can't really write about our life. And then I sold this idea, and it was sort of uncomfortable for him because he was like, wait, so you're like making fun of me and my family and how different we are from you and your family. And it just, I realized that there's another person in my life that I have to take into account now. I can't just like, making fun of myself is easy, but there's this other person there. So it was uncomfortable for a while for me to figure out how to do it. And I honestly did get really into being a wife and like becoming domestic. And we were trying to have kids for so long now since we got together basically. And that just became my focus. And all the business stuff is really fulfilling. But when you have like a creative talent that you want to fulfill and you're not doing that, you feel a little like you're not living up to your potential. So I had a hard time around COVID, just feeling like, what am I doing with my life? I'm not really fulfilling what I'm meant to be doing. I'm fulfilling stuff that's
Everything
fun
else
to do.
felt like fluff to you. Like, and that's what I was saying. Like when you have such an innate talent, right? Like being a writer, it doesn't matter that you have a profitable clothing line or an investment fund or a podcast that people really love. If you're not doing the thing you know you were put on this earth to do, which is right, you're not, you feel like a failure. You feel like,
yeah, I did feel like a failure for sure.
Yeah.
So then when the show finally got bought, like so many years later, it was really satisfying for me, even though it was hard doing it pregnant, all the things. But like, it felt like things had come full circle and I had figured out a way to have that too.
How are you guys structuring your day with all the stuff you have going on? Do you have like structure or routine around it? Or is it just kind of like,
we are like, what do you always, Erin always calls it like the accidental empire. Like
Yeah.
we are not organized people. We are a disaster.
I think though
we
that's
really aren't.
what's endearing about you guys.
We never were like, ooh, like let's be this sister duo and let's
Yeah.
have all these things and let's be these people. Like we were late to join Instagram. We were not like, this was not a plan at all. None of it. I didn't even want a clothing
I
company.
don't know. It's hard. It's like you're saying about 30% of everything and being a mom and all that. It is hard. it's really tricky.
I mean, I've been handling most everything while she's been on set 15 hours a day.
True. Oh,
But you know what? We'll do
You
this again.
guys can come back anytime. I have
Yeah, we
100
can-
more
Sorry,
questions.
we just,
I didn't
No,
want to
no,
talk
no.
about
We could
beauty,
riff for a long
wellness,
time.
health, diet, your schedule, your routine.
Well, we have
There's-
to talk about our podcast and favorite
Yeah,
daughter.
yes,
Because
go-
you have
so-
so many
okay, so-
listeners who
talk that let's
why I
end
wanna
it
say-
with you
that's why I wanna
guys
get some
talking
time.
about
Okay.
all the things that you're doing. Go.
Well, and really the answer to how we do everything is because of Montana. Montana is like
True.
keeps us on track.
I get
in a
it.
way
I have
that
to
is
have someone to
insane.
keep me on
Taylor's,
track.
he's scared back there for whatever she said to him. Is it
Good.
she or he?
She.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, he's,
No, we're not
he's like, check your
organized.
phone, Michael.
Well,
We're really not
something's working. So tell us about all the things you're doing.
Well, we are really proud of Favorite Daughter. Favorite Daughter is doing really well, and it's really exciting for us. And if it is something that we are very connected to, it's not like a put your name on something and walk away. We are like in every fitting, we really care about it. And women have an emotional connection to the clothes in a way that we feel really proud of. And we run in fashion circles with girls who wear stuff that we're not willing to spend money on, you know?
We would never walk into like Dior and buy something. Like we don't dress like that. So it really, I think you see a lot of celebrity influencer brands that don't necessarily work. And I think it's because they're not wearing the clothes,
Mhm.
right? So why do we want to buy this from you if you're wearing, Louis Vuitton all day long? But this is how Erin and I dress. We created a brand for girls like us who want to feel chic, who want to feel put together, who don't want to stand out like looking like shit when you're at these fancy events, but who fits in
And isn't going to spend $800
and isn't
on
going to
a pair of pants.
spend,
And where
it's
can
worked.
everyone shop it?
So you can-
shopfavoritedaughter.com.
Yeah, go to favoritedaughter.com, or we're in a lot of boutiques. We're also in Nordstrom. We're also
Nordstrom,
in
Shop Up,
Saks.
Revolve, Moda,
Wow.
Selfridges in London.
You can only say one word each. Who's the favorite daughter?
like name the person.
No, which one of you is the favorite daughter?
Me.
I think maybe I'm my dad's.
That's funny.
No, I'm serious. I'm actually serious. I was his first call when he had a surgery. That does say a lot.
Oh,
That does say a lot.
interesting.
But you might be mom's.
Yeah, I think it's more that
I
he's
don't
just he likes to chase Sarah. Sarah doesn't call him back, and he appreciates the chase.
Oh yeah, aloof.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'll say
that
this. I
always
think
gets
it's
I'm to avail.
I think it's different at all times. I think.
Well, because the name really came out of the joke where, and I think everybody's parents do this. Like our dad would always say to each of us when we were alone with him that we were his favorite.
Oh.
And then you'd always like, wait, he told you that?
That's a good tip.
And
gonna do that.
so we always believed that we were all the favorite.
It's kind of like Succession vibes. It's
Yeah,
kinda like-
exactly.
it's a little
Anyways, we have a really
manipulative.
Yeah.
complicated life. You can listen to the world's first podcast where you can hear all of this. If you hate us, then don't listen. But if you are interested in learning more, it's all there.
The ones
Where
that
can
hate listen
people
the
find
most.
you on
Yeah,
Instagram?
that's true. Yes, it's just our names. Erin
name.
Foster, Sara Foster.
Can we give away like a set to someone to follow favorite daughter on Instagram?
Yes,
Can we-
please.
What can we give away?
Wait, so is it like one set for one follow? Because that doesn't seem like we're getting enough out of that.
No. We're giving away one set, but everyone the requirement is to go follow.
Oh yeah, like
Oh,
a top and
yes.
skirt.
So that
You
a
mean?
lot of people
Like a-
follow, and then only one person gets the set.
Yes.
How do
I
we
like
pick the
that.
winner?
Oh no,
Great.
you think I'm going to give a set to?
I'm like, we don't need one follow. We need like 10,000. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Go follow at favorite.daughter on Instagram and tell us your favorite part of this episode on my latest post at Lauren Bostic. And what does one person get to win?
They can choose the outfit themselves.
Okay.
Ooh, they can just go on and
cute.
choose
Yeah,
an outfit.
Pick an outfit. You get tops and bottoms, whatever. Top, blazer. I mean, get creative. If you're smart, you're going to go, oh, I need a tank top with a button down and a blazer and a belt and a pair of pants. I mean, if you're
Whoa.
smart.
I love it. You guys are great. Please come back on so
We
I
would
can
love
get
to.
the rest of the juice on beauty, health, diet, and wellness.
Oh, yeah,
Thanks
we
for
didn't even
having
hit
me.
that.
We didn't even
Yeah.
talk about that.
I know.
Well, Montana threw you out.
Sorry, Montana.
It's always Montana.